Yo, what up, vendors? We back in the booth in Studio B, aka my son's room. Let's get it. On this podcast, we dive into the world of being a vendor. Add a little BTS, some DIY, tons of tips and tricks, and every now and then, we chop it up with vendors from around the country. Welcome to the vendor booth. Picking up where we left off, we were about to set up shop at home. Now, I advise you to take full advantage of this time because this is when you're going to best prepare for the show and work on your booth so you can figure out any problems or issues that might arise when setting up. You'll be able to figure out how fast it's going to take you to set it up. You'll figure out how fast it'll take you to tear it down or break the booth down, pack it up and be ready to leave. Also, you'll really figure out if you need additional help to set up your booth. Being that I'm recording this in September, that means next month is Halloween, October. So let's just say, for example, we were doing a show that was coming up in October and we want to take advantage of the holiday, Halloween. We're going to hook up the booth with a Halloween theme. What we want to do is hit up like Dollar Tree or your local dollar store and grab some Halloween items, right? Now, you want to grab some of that fake webbing, right? Along with some spiders. You could grab some skulls along with some little skeletons and pretty much anything else that you think might accent your merchandise. Now, just the idea, right? Let's just say you grab a skull. You might be able to place one of your items on top of the skull, right? And that would be dope because, again, that's going to accent or help your item to be seen more. Along with the web, the skulls and skeletons and whatever you pick up, also look at Halloween lights, if at all available, battery operated. This way, you don't have to worry about getting electricity at the event. Okay, now the reason why I'm suggesting to get lights is, you know how like there's that blue light and the bugs constantly go at it. Lighting in booths at shows has the same effect on people. People are drawn into the lighting. So if you can, grab some lights, battery operated. It don't necessarily have to be battery operated, but just think about the electricity that you'll need in addition to whatever the booth fee is. Okay, so if you can, if it's possible, grab some lights. So we're going to set up the 6-foot table in the designated space, right? We throw our table cover on there, throw our table runner on there, step back and take a look at it. Get used to seeing this as your base and know that this is where you're building from, okay? When you take the step back to look at your booth, you should be able to start seeing where you want to put your merchandise at, your pieces, right? Your accents, or your highlighted items. You should see where you want to put those at, okay? Now you put your display pieces in place. So that could be any stands, any risers. If you're using the box method that I spoke about, you could set that up prior to putting any merchandise on the table. Now that you got your displays in place, let's load up the merch, right? Now you don't have to put out all your merch, but put out a good amount of it so that you could get a really good feel for what your booth is actually going to be like. Now, the reason why you want to set up your merch is so that you could properly merchandise the table, okay? You want your booth to flow, and the only way to find out if your booth flows properly is by setting up your merchandise, okay? You don't have to put everything out, but you want to put a substantial amount out. So this way you can troubleshoot to see if one item is going to interfere or clash with the next. So let's just say like you had a t-shirt up and then you put necklaces in front of the t-shirt. Would those necklaces block the design that's on the t-shirt or interfere with the design being seen on the t-shirt? Those are the types of things you want to look for. So this is why we practice first. Now that we got the booth set up, everything's figured out, we like how we got everything placed, we gotta add in signage, right? We talking price signs, QR codes, and whatever other signs you need, okay? Now the reason why you want to add signage is because you want to make shopping the booth as easy as possible. You are going to have customers or potential customers that like to talk, don't like to talk. There's those two. Every now and then you get an in-between person, but for the most part, there's those that like to talk, those that don't like to talk. And the reason why you're doing the signage primarily is for those that are more on the shy side or don't like to talk. With our signage, we want to make sure that we're making our signage big enough so we have our prices, everything is ready to go. But we want to make sure our signs are big enough to be seen, but not to interfere with the actual merchandise. Again, you don't want to have a big sign covering up the front of your t-shirt, you know, where you got to keep moving it or somebody got to keep moving it to the side so they can see the full design. Let's talk QR codes, right? That's taking payments, okay? Whether it be PayPal, Square, Venmo, whatever. You want to make sure that you have at least two of them on opposite sides of the table. So left and right side. Doesn't have to be totally at the end, but you want to make sure you have at least two of them. That way, if somebody's here, another person could scan over there. Again, this is all to make your job easier. If you get as busy as it can get, you're going to be overwhelmed. You want to get people in and out as fast as possible. And you really don't want to have somebody waiting too long because you got a short period of time to get the sale. And people have a short attention span. So if they feel they got to wait too long to pay for something, they might be like, oh, I'll come back. And they might forget about you later on in the day. We got the booth set up. We got our merch in place. We got our signs in place. We're happy with what we see. But there's one place that we haven't spoken about with the booth. And that's below the booth. That's right, underneath the table. Below the booth should be a place for storage of extra merchandise and packaging supplies. Okay? You want to have it set up just as nice and neat as the top of the booth. Speaking of packaging, what kind or how much packaging are you carrying? For me personally, since I sell hats, tees, glasses, buttons, I have packaging of all sorts for all those items. So my glasses, I got boxes, I got bags, I got plastic bubble wrap, I got tissue paper, then I got paper bags, 2 sizes of paper bags, then I got plastic bags. What else do I carry? And then I also sometimes carry shipping boxes. You see why it's important to take care below the deck just as above the deck, okay? Because you're gonna have your merchandise down there, you're gonna have your packaging down there. You want it to be accessible very easily for yourself. You're gonna be going in and out of there all day, and you want it to be just as easy as it is for you to reach to an item on top of your table. It should be just as easy to reach to some packaging or additional items below your table. Now it's time to talk about the teardown. What the teardown is, that basically means taking your booth apart and packing it up, ready to leave. Okay? You should have a plan to come into the building or into the show space, just as well as having a plan to get out of the show space. Okay? Tear down is part of that plan. This is basically taking your booth apart and putting it away, ready to transport it. What you want to pay attention to is how fast you can do it. As you practice, as you get the experience of doing the shows, you get quicker at tearing everything down. Okay? My goal is usually to get in and out of a show within a half hour. That's just my personal goal. And of course, that depends on how much actual stuff that I bring with me. If I got a 2-table setup, there's no way I'm going to get out in a half hour. It'll usually take me about 45 minutes at that point. Okay? So, you're looking at that 6-foot table a little different now, huh? And we just scratched the surface. We ain't even get all into advanced stuff yet. But it's coming. That's later down the line in the podcast, which I hope you're enjoying. So, do me a favor if you haven't. Subscribe, comment, like, share, do all that good stuff. All right? And I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.